Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Garden of Sports. I'm your host, Zach Gardner, alongside my brother, Jake Gardner.
Hello.
So today we're going to bring you the Fantasy Hockey Week 5 breakdown. We're going to go over top performers, injury news, top storylines, discuss some buy low and sell high trade targets, and of course, scoop them up. We're also going to look ahead into next week and discuss the best and worst schedules and go over some possible streaming options. We have a lot in store for today, so let's jump into it.
Yeah, man. Top performers, center. This one's weird. JT Miller, 26.25 fantasy points. Ryan Hartman, 20.5 fantasy points. Troy Terry and Jordan Kyrou, 20.25 fantasy points. Drake Batherson, 20. Matt Duchene, 19.5. Yeah, and JT Miller is Zach's favorite player, so he's happy to see this happening.
Yeah, literally my favorite player. Got that right.
Yeah.
All right, I'm moving on. Left wing, Jonathan Marchessault, 24.25 fantasy points. Alexander Ovechkin, 19 fantasy points. Leon Draisaitl, 18.75. Evgeny Dadonov, 18.25. And Brad Marchand, 16.75.
Okay. So
some good players in there.
Yeah. It's nice to see Jonathan there at the top coming to form because he was struggling to start the year.
Yeah.
Right wing, Riley Smith, 20 fantasy points. David Passmack, 19.5 fantasy points. William Nylander, 18. Adrian Kempe, 17.5 fantasy points. Jordan Eberle, 17 fantasy points.
We'll be talking about David Pastrnak later in the episode, so stay tuned for that. But it's nice to see
probably and Kempe, right?
Yeah, nice to see Pastrnak finally make a top 5 scoring list because he's a first round pick. But now we'll move on to defense. Alex Pietrangelo, 25.25 fantasy points. Quinn Hughes, 24.5 fantasy points. Charlie McAvoy, 24 fantasy points. Samuel Girard, 23.75. And Shea Theodore, 22.25.
Very nice. Yeah, goalies, Jack Campbell, 23.5 fantasy points. Mackenzie Blackwood, 23.25 fantasy points. John Gibson, 23 fantasy points. Jonathan Quick, 22.7 fantasy points. And Connor Hellebuck, 20. So,
some pretty familiar names in there.
Yeah, for sure.
So now we're going to go right on over to some injury news. And Jake's going to fill us in on all these guys.
Oh, Jesus, really? Am I?
No.
God, no.
I'm just messing with you. All right, so we're going to start it out with Nathan MacKinnon out at least 3 weeks with a lower body injury. And this is the team that the hockey gods have decided to really mess with this year. They're just not allowed to ever have a fully healthy team. When one player finally comes back, another one leaves. They just have a rotating door of injuries and guys coming back, and they can never be all healthy at the same time. It's just how the year's working out so far. Hopefully by the end of the year they can have a full squad. They definitely have the most talented roster, one of the most talented rosters in the whole league. But they got to all play together. Sidney Crosby is expected to play Sunday's game. He's been out in COVID protocol. Alec Martinez won't play Sunday, listed as a face injury. And I don't know, he's not that ugly, but I guess, he's out with a face. So. TJ Oshie with lower body has resumed skating. No word on his return yet, but keep monitoring. It's good to see him back at practice. Same thing with Nicholas Backstrom with his hip injury. He's been practicing for over a week now. Still no word on a return, but it's good to see him practicing. And then Torrey Krug remains out in COVID protocol, has missed 3 games and counting. Martin Necas with an illness is not in the lineup Saturday against St. Louis, but should play Tuesday in Vegas. Braden Shen, upper body, now considered day-to-day, so he was put from out to day-to-day, so he might be back soon later this week. Philip Forsberg remains week to week. Then Nikita Zaitsev, this is a very weird one, Jake. He was in COVID protocol all week. They removed him from COVID protocol on Saturday morning, and it was like he's going to play the game then. And then right before game time, they put him back into COVID protocol. So I don't know what that was all about. Like, it's a very strange situation. Luckily, he didn't play, I guess.
Yeah. Weird.
Then William Karlsson will miss at least 6 weeks with a broken foot, and Vegas just continues to get annihilated with injuries. I mean, my goodness, that's 4 guys in their top 6 that are out long term now.
Jesus.
And they're still winning, which is crazy. And then JT Compher with the upper body pulled something and could be out a few days or much longer. So that's just your classic case of hockey pulling a hockey with the injuries. Could be out a few days or much longer. That's literally what the coach said. That's a quote. So literally tells you nothing. So I'd expect him to be out a few weeks. If you're
classic hockey.
Classic hockey, dear. Victor Olofsson missed his 6th straight game with an undisclosed injury. So I hate it when they do the undisclosed. That makes it seem like you don't know what it could be.
Mm-hmm.
It could be like he jammed a finger, or it could be like he tore an ACL. Who knows? And then Ryan Graves, day-to-day after a collision in Saturday's game. And then
I saw somebody dropped him, so was it like
serious? somebody dropped him, but they dropped him before the injury.
Oh.
So I was literally about to put a claim in for him, but I want to see more on this injury news before I do that.
Yeah, okay.
And then Bowen Byram, one of last week's top scoops, he took an elbow to the face in Thursday's game, and Colorado fears he has a concussion. And he's had a lot of concussion issues throughout his minor league career, so that's something to watch for sure. He could miss some time, because that thing about concussions is once you start getting them, they're a lot easier to get every one you have. So it doesn't take much if you're a concussion-prone guy to get one. And then Jonathan Drouin, head injury. He's traveling with the team, but he has yet to be taken off IR, but that could be coming anytime next week. He's traveling with the team, so I think they anticipate him playing sometime this week. And then Eric Chernak, upper body, he's week to week. Zach Cassian, lower bodies, day to day. Max Domi is in COVID protocol. And then Jack Hughes, he was on long-term IR with the shoulder injury. They're talking he's due to be back next month. So if you've held on to him, that's good if you've held on to him.
Nice.
So that's all the injury news. Seems like there's always a lot in hockey. A lot of injuries before the season.
There's a lot in basketball, too.
So now we'll move on to some top storylines. So one of the biggest storylines that we're still going to talk about is Jack Eichel. He had his artificial disc replacement surgery over this last week, and the surgery went well according to the Vegas Golden Knights, and they're expecting him to make a full recovery. And the timeline, they haven't released any updates on the timeline, so we're still assuming late March, early April, he'll be back on the ice. So we just got to keep monitoring that and just keep waiting for news. It's good to see that the surgery went well, so no setbacks, at least to this point.
Okay, well, yeah, I got nothing for that, man. I mean, we talked about it last week. I think
we talked about it. I just wanted to update that he had the surgery now, so
for sure.
And then we can discuss this a little bit. Can the Blackhawks turn their season around? They're looking good. They're 3-0 so far since they got the new coach, Derek King, in there. It seems like he's a little more of an old school guy from the same ilk as like Quenneville, where he's gonna hold his guys accountable, and he's one of those guys. You know, hockey is one of those ones where they like the coach. Like hockey players, they like the coach being tough. I think that's another reason it didn't really work out with Jeremy Colleton. He was like younger than some of the players on the team, so I don't feel like he had full respect of the whole team. He wasn't the greatest player when he was in the league. He played in the league, but he wasn't like a great player in the league. So a lot of times you're not going to get a lot of respect from like players They usually like the players or the coaches that were good, well respected players in the league. They'll like listen to them, and that's kind of how Derek King is. He was a good player in the National Hockey League, so immediately when he walks in the room, everybody wants to hear what he has to say. He's one of those types of guys,
Okay.
So he's really, so far it's looking great. Looking like he's a good hire. He's actually got some emotion out there on the bench, which is one thing Colleton never had. He was the most stoic guy I think I've ever seen. So I don't know. I feel like they could, I feel like this could be a turning point because if you look at their roster, they definitely have a roster that you think could get some wins. I was very shocked at how bad they were at the start of the season, but I think, they can turn it around and get back in the playoff race.
Yeah, it's too early to tell. That's just like I don't know. I mean, Taves hasn't looked
I'm
great.
projecting. I'm a diehard Blackhawks fan.
Yeah, so I think it's just too early to tell. They're due for some wins anyway, despite the coach. I think because of, like you said, the talent on paper, and they were losing a bunch. So
yeah,
it's hard to tell like if they can just keep doing that kind of thing. And other players, like I said, Taves needs to pick it up. I feel like Doc needs to pick it up. It's just so obviously
definitely Taves and Doc.
Couple guys are doing fine, but you need the whole team.
Yeah, how well they do definitely depends on how Taves and Doc, if they bounce back or not, because those are two of their top six. Those are their two, first line, second line centers, and if those guys aren't doing good, most likely the team's not going to do good. Those are your two most important players, like two top centers. So you got to have them be doing good. Is what the Anaheim Ducks are doing sustainable? Can they really have a magical renaissance year with all these older guys? Just having resurgent years.
Is Troy Terry old?
No, not Troy Terry. He's young, but I'm like, Getzlaf, Cam Fowler, Kevin Shattenkirk, Adam Henrique. These guys are all 35 plus.
I mean, it looks like they can. I mean, we're over a month in, right? It's
over a month in, and Ryan Getzlaf is a top 5 center in the whole league.
And they have a breakout star in Troy Terry.
And then
the defensemen are doing. I think those maybe are the biggest question marks. Are those defensemen holding up right? But is Cam Fowler old?
Yeah, Cam Fowler's old. He's
he's
older than Shattenkirk.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well,
I just wonder if they can sustain it.
It's got the secret stuff from MJ.
Yeah, they got the secret stuff. Yeah, that would just be kind of funny because
I think it rides on definitely the offense keeping up.
Because they have
if the Troy Terry falls off, they lose their scorer, and then the center falls off, then they're going to be on defense more, and then those guys would be playing too hard and probably get hurt. Those defensemen that are old. So if they're keeping it on the offensive side, they can hold it. They could keep it going. Who's their goalie?
John Gibson, and he's one of the most
talented. Doing good?
He's one of the most talented goalies in the league, but he's always, everybody's always too. Like he's not old actually, but he's a great goalie, but he's everybody's always like, well, he's on a bad team, so.
Oh, hey, you're missing a starting goalie in the lineup today.
Well, I think ESPN screwed up because I'm pretty sure Blackwood's starting today.
Okay, and you don't want Bennington against the Oilers?
And plus, I don't want to have somebody against the Oilers,
Okay.
But, I think, I don't know, I need to see them do this for another month, and then I'll start to believe, because they've been so bad for, for 4 years before this. I need to see a little more, but it's, it's cool to see some of these older guys kind of having renaissance years.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, but over a month of proving it, it does it for me. I mean, unless there's just some injury bug that hits them, I think they're here to stay.
Which, is something you got to worry about with all these, guys in their mid-30s.
Yeah, but people win championships in their mid-30s. It's not like uncommon. It just won't be a dynasty,
Because I think they got to. I haven't looked at this research, but they have to be one of the oldest teams in the league on average, like of all your
Okay,
players. But we'll move on to our
gotcha.
next. We'll move on to our last storyline point here.
Hmm.
Next discussion. It's been a weird year for goalies so far. Will the usual top five suspects make it there this year after some bad starts? I'm mainly talking about Andrei Vasilevsky and Connor Hellebuck, two guys who are always one and two.
Hellebuck will for sure make it back to top 5.
You think so?
Yeah, we just had him in the top 5. It's like he's starting to bounce back,
Yeah,
and we know the talent. So I
I'm
don't
just
know
really
much about
wondering about Andrei
though.
Vasilevsky. Well, he's been the number one goalie like 4 years in a row before this, and
Okay.
like everybody's always like that's just never a question that Vasilevsky's the best goalie in the league. And
Oh, he'll be fine then.
right now he's number 11. Hasn't really flashed a lot at all. He's just kind of average, which you
He's
never really
picking it up
expect.
though.
Yeah, they probably will. I just wanted to talk about it because it's been kind of a
Yeah.
very weird goalie year so far. Not a lot of names you'd
Looks
think.
like his first 3 weeks or so he was only getting he was struggling, but now the past 2 he looks pretty good.
Yeah.
So I would say they can, just because like I don't know, the goalie talent isn't like there's a lot of bad goalies, so there's enough to where at that position the best can always bounce back into it, right? I mean,
Right. And you got to like they're on good teams. That always helps. So
mhm.
it's just that's another reason it's so hard to judge about John Gibson because I feel like he could be a top 5 goalie if Anaheim really is this good and there can be like this the whole year, then John Gibson is for sure a top 5 goalie. And also, probably if he is going to be a top 5 goalie, had the best value. Him and Frederick Anderson would have the best value if they can keep that up the whole season. Because you
Okay.
got them like 5th round or later, those guys. And if they're going to be like both of them top 5, because
Mhm.
Vasilevsky and Hellebuck, those are keepers / first round picks. If they're not going to make it into the top 5, then that's, not good value.
Gotcha. I feel like they will. So would those be buy lows? Is that kind of what you're
Well,
leading into
yeah,
here? Or?
that's what I am leaning into.
Okay.
We can talk about them when I have them we can move on to buy low trades now. And I do have them on here. Andrei
I would
Vasilevsky and
definitely.
Connor Hellebuck. Normally, all offers for these guys are dead on arrival, but now is a chance to at least have a discussion with whoever owns them. They might be willing to listen to
You'd
some
have to
offers.
offer.
You'd have to offer
You'd have to offer
your
one of
first
your
round picks,
first
first or
round.
second
Okay.
round, maybe a second round pick.
Maybe your
But
bottom of your 4 keepers, like in our league, it's 4 keepers, but maybe like one of those
you'd have to definitely give a
pretty
keeper if
like a
you're in a
star,
keeper.
but not. I wouldn't give up your main fucking skaters. I was thinking like your goalie. If you have a goalie that's overperforming on the year, include
Mm-hmm.
him, and then give like a star, but not. I mean, if you're giving up one of your top forwards, I feel like that's a loss in the trade. But
Yeah, I mean, but if Vasilevsky and Hellebuck get back to what they normally do, it really might not be so much. And it also depends on how deep you are. If you have a lot of depth at forward, you could give them like one of your top 4 forwards who still might be averaging a bunch.
so would you offer Sorokin and Panarin?
That would definitely probably get it done.
Or would that
Even
be too much?
that would probably get it done if these guys were like top 5.
Okay, so it's a little much. You're thinking.
That would be a little much for sure. I would say
Okay.
if you wanted, you could do either one of those and then add someone of less ilk. So you could do like Panarin and somebody else, or Sorokin and
I mean,
somebody
it's
else.
got to be. You have to include a goalie because goalies
Yeah.
are hard to come by. So if a guy's trading away a goalie, he expects a goalie in return plus a star. I feel. I don't know.
Right. Panarin might just be a little steep then, but definitely you could Sorokin and somebody would get it done.
What about Jonathan Masters Salt?
Marchessault, I think that could be a good one.
He's just
he's
hot
playing-
right now, and
He's just hot right now, and eventually the 4 of those top 6 guys will be back.
yeah.
So and if you could turn him into, because he's really hot right now, turn him into Vasilevsky or Hellebuck, that could
Mhm.
that could win you a championship for sure.
Yeah, totally agree.
And then you're still giving them a good goalie who a lot of people like in Sorokin. It's not like that's a no-name guy. People have been talking about him for so long. Everybody knows that name.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I was just saying in general, like maybe people don't want to give him up because he's a young guy and they might keep him. But
yeah, and then you're talking about in your situation as well.
Yeah, I was just looking at mine for reference. Like, guys,
Yeah.
like I mean, you could say Frederick Anderson too is overperforming, and
No, he's been a top 5 guy too, except for last year.
okay, so you wouldn't so high on him?
No, I feel like he's just getting back to how his career has been, except for last year. And people are starting to get worried about him because he's getting a little older and had a bad year last year. But he's on the best team in the league.
Okay, I have a buy low for you that it's not on here.
Okay,
Mike Smith. Just since we're on goalies.
Oh yeah, Mike Smith. That's a good one. I didn't realize that he's been injured. I thought he was still playing. I thought he came back.
Classic Mike. I mean, he's 39.
Yeah.
And he just suffered a setback. So I feel like you could just throw like a mid-level tier player at whoever has him and maybe get a trade done because they might be over it, or
right.
Like maybe you trade an overperforming goalie from this week, like we talked about the top performers. Jonathan Quick, right?
Yeah, if you have Jonathan Quick in a deep league, maybe you can make a trade over for Mike Smith. If somebody's holding Mike Smith, that might get it done.
Yeah, just because like he's on IR. I mean, he's on that great team, but then Edmonton also like I feel when Mike Smith comes back, he will take it back over. But people are saying like, oh, this other goalie's doing good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like he's a good buy low.
Yeah, that is a great buy low. And then he'll be the starting goalie when he's back on one of the best offenses in the league, and a pretty dang good defense as well.
Like I feel like he won't come back and just split. Like they told him.
No, I don't know though. That it might, because Koskinen's been very good filling in, so they might do a 50-50, but it'd still be worth getting the points on one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah, you're just getting wins, even if he doesn't play.
You'll be getting wins, just not as many starts in a week. But if he's like your third or fourth goalie, then you don't, just.
Don't offer too much, but.
Yeah, it's better to have a guy like that as like your third goalie, because a lot of times the 50-50s, he might play on more off nights, and then you don't have to choose to put him in over one of your better two goalies.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be a good little move you can make for sure. That's a good buy low. So I got on here also David Pastrnak. So, right wing on Boston, one of their best offensive players. Same thing as like Vasilevsky and Hellebuck. Normally, nobody would ever think about trading this guy away. But he had a slow start to the season, and the window's quickly closing. He's been scoring this week, so maybe
okay. Well, it's probably past.
Maybe it could already be closed. You might have already missed your chance, but I just wanted to put him on here because maybe there's still a league where he's still not averaging up to over 4 yet, and maybe you could still put a trade in to get him. And if you could get him, he's gonna be by the end of the year one of your best forwards. Yeah. But the problem is everybody that owns him knows that, but he did have a slow start, so I wanted to mention him. This is probably the last time we'll ever talk about him as a buy low.
Definitely. Okay. I'm more interested in your next guy here.
Yeah, so then my next guy, Marc-Andre Fleury, he's starting to turn it around. He's had back-to-back good starts now since they made the coaching change over in Chicago, so I feel like he's a pretty safe buy low because he hasn't been bad. Because I am a diehard Chicago Blackhawks fan. I've watched every game so far, and as someone who's suffered through that horrific start to the season, I never once thought, oh man, Marc-Andre Fleury's just he's a Swiss cheese goalie. He just gives up. No, the defense gives up. In that 2 or 3 week period where the Blackhawks were doing so bad losing, they gave up the most high danger scoring chances in the whole league. And I don't care if you're Marc-Andre Fleury or a backup somewhere. I don't care if you're a Hall of Fame goalie. If you're on a team that gives up the most high danger chances, you're going to let in more goals because that's just how it works. And he never gave up like terrible goals. I just feel like if the team can start to get a little better, he'll be good because
I think he's a real good buy low.
He might be the best.
So like, how many teams are in the league? 34?
32 now.
32. Yeah, his position rank is 26. So if you think he can finish better than 26, and
I feel like
definitely can. I feel like
then
he is a buy low. Yeah. So, and obviously his last two games he's done pretty dang well. So it'll be a little harder than I started picking it up, but you could offer. He's kind of like the same as Mike Smith to me, but on a worse team.
Too much. Yeah.
Yeah, don't offer too much, but
especially
try to give up something if you're desperate for a goalie.
If your league is based not in Illinois, you might have an even better chance of getting Fleury because everybody in where we are in Chicago, most likely is just going to stick with him. But you could definitely try and send an offer over for him.
For sure.
And then this is a great buy low. John Carlson, he's still doing really well, but he's not top 10 at the moment, and people might be a little frustrated with him. But I still think he's poised to finish top 5 D-man, and if you could send something over for him, he could be one of your best players by the end of the year.
Okay, so
because he's on Washington's just a great team, and he's still a top power play. So
what would you send over?
You'd probably have to send over. It might take like a.
Do you send over a hot Quinn Hughes?
I don't know about that.
That's because that's always the hard part, though. Is usually you have to offer guys who are hot at the time, and you have to predict like the other guy's going to finish better. So that's the hard part. But it's like John Carlson definitely finished better than Quinn Hughes last year. And Quinn Hughes is the up and comer, but
John Carlson was, if he wasn't number 1 last year, he was like number 2 or 3.
Yeah, no, he was top 5.
Yeah,
I remember that he was just insane. He was near 5 average, which in our league is very, only the best of the best get up to 5.
And he's consistently averaged that. That's where you feel like he should be, and he's a little below that now. He's starting to get up over 4 now.
At 3.7.
Yeah, he's starting to climb up.
Number 24 ranked, and even if you think he won't make top 5 and he'll make top 10, he's still a buy low.
Definitely.
Because this just isn't him. This is just like a hit what a cold streak looks like for him, right?
Yeah.
So you would want to send.
This is a low point for him for sure. So I feel like he's easily gonna outperform this. You could maybe send over like a Zach Werenski. Who also is struggling a little bit.
What about like Tony DeAngelo and a forward?
I was going to say that could get it done, but the problem is DeAngelo's been playing better. But so that might be a 1-for-1 if you were going to do that.
Oh, but the guy who has Carlson's not just going to do that because it was probably a top pick, right?
So you'd probably just throw in a bench forward, and that would put it over the top. You don't have to put in a great forward, but
a month in, picks shouldn't matter anymore because the draft's done, blah blah blah. But people still care about that in trades and stuff.
We're kind of at the point where we're starting to get over that a little bit, where it's like, I picked this guy in the 3rd round, I got to hold him. We're starting to get over that. But yeah, we got a couple more weeks.
Round, people don't get over that. So,
yeah, and John Carlson's a 1st or 2nd round pick.
You couldn't do a 1-for-1. It'd have to be
it would. So probably DeAngelo and a forward would be what it would take to do it, to get somebody to give up Carlson. That probably.
What about What about selling high and like Devin Taves, who's hot right now, coming off of injury?
The problem with that is I don't know if you can sell him high because everybody knows Colorado is stacked at forward, and he's got a ceiling on him for sure.
No, Taves is a defenseman.
Yeah, Devin Taves. He's on Carolina. He's on Colorado, right?
Yeah, he's a defenseman though.
Yeah, they have a stacked defense.
Oh, you said forward. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I thought you were mixing up players. No, okay. So you're saying he won't get the minutes?
He's not gonna be because Cale Makar
He's
and
got a lot of minutes.
Samuel Girard eat up all the minutes, and he's more of a defensive guy anyway. I don't know if he's a great sell high.
Okay.
I think he's just more of a hold if you have him.
Well, he's a 5 average though. He's not going to keep it up. That's why I think.
Oh, well then he's averaging 5. Jesus.
Well, it's 3 games, but yeah, he's 20 and he's averaging 22. Well, basically.
Well, if he's
minutes.
doing that, then yeah, that's a sell high for sure. I didn't realize that.
Okay.
We're gonna get into sell highs in a minute, so maybe I'll add him on there. We can talk.
I'm just giving examples for Carlson, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, just go for Carlson. That's all we're saying.
You could definitely probably include if you can include Devin Taves to get Carlson. I would do that in the freaking second for sure.
Like if you had D'Angelo and Devin Taves, I would send that.
Okay, yeah, send the 2 of them. Could get it done.
It's got to be a 2-for-1, or if you're willing to give up one of your stars, 1-for-1. But it's always harder for people.
Yeah, I mean, John Carlson's probably unlikely to get traded anyway. People are going to give him more benefit of the doubt.
Yep.
But I'm just saying he is lower than he normally is average-wise, so this might be your chance to at least start get the discussion going back and forth. And then
would you send Poink 1-for-1?
Yeah, I'd probably do that. Pionk is very consistent. I like,
Poink, dude.
It's okay.
Oh my God.
Poink. We're in Chicago. But my next guy, this was one of my favorite buy lows as well. Thomas Chabot. He's definitely had a slow start, but he leads the whole league in ice time, and he's the quarterback of a good young power play. There's no question in my mind the points are going to start flowing, and he has top 10 defense potential.
Okay. Has he ever finished top 10?
Yes, he had. Last year he didn't, but he still is very good, averaging 4. He's always right around the top 10. There was one year I feel like he was like number 6, 7. So he's got a lot of talent. He gets all the ice time. He's on the first pairing, first power play. And he was finishing good when Ottawa was really bad. So now that they're starting to get good, I just feel like he has potential to definitely be one of the top defensive guys in the whole league. I've always liked this guy a lot. He's a very, very, very good player. If you could send a trade over to get him, you might be able to get this guy because he is starting kind of a little slow for him. He's still averaging over 3 in our league, but normally he's up around in the mid 4.
Okay.
So I feel like this is a guy you could potentially get, and you're locking in a top 10 whole season defenseman, in my opinion.
Okay. Gotcha.
I've been trying without luck to get him this whole week. I've sent over multiple offers.
Who has him?
Ben.
Oh, he probably thinks you're trying to swindle him.
And he's playing hardball.
He was talking about it on, we were gaming the other day, and he said you were sending trades, and I'm like...
Oh, yeah?
Well, he didn't even... I feel like he just doesn't... He's like... He doesn't know enough players yet. He's still learning hockey, so he's like, I have no idea what I'm looking at, so I'm not ready to trade.
Okay, I figured that was the reason.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with it. I just wanted the player. I didn't even realize who owned them until I looked later, but yeah.
Sure.
My next guy, you'll know this one, Travis Konechny. He's had a little bit of a slow start for him, but he's an exciting young player who can score in bunches. So this is a good time. This is a good chance to get him.
I did it.
Yeah, I know.
But
and then
since I've gotten him, he's still been bad. So yeah, he's probably even easier to get now.
Yeah, but
he has his average has just gone down from like when I traded for him, it was 3.7, and now it's 3.1.
He'll turn it around.
He's definitely struggling. Yeah, no, I'm not worried. I'm just saying, like,
if
it's for everybody listening, they can go get him.
Yeah, definitely go get him. And then Jonathan Taves. He's had a very slow start. He historically is always a slow starter. The floodgates are going to open in due time. He's still getting all the ice time. He's getting over 60% of his faceoffs. He's playing very well. The puck's going to start bouncing his way at some point. Because, I mean, if you watch the Blackhawks games, you notice him all over the ice, and he's just not getting the puck luck right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, in my mind, there's no way that he's going to be this bad. I can't see it from watching the games. I feel like he's playing like he should be the way he's playing right now, he should have more numbers. So,
Okay. Yeah, what's your offer?
let me take a look for Jonathan Toews.
No, let's keep it going. We're kind of dragging.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, send me
We're up
something.
against the clock here. Another buy low, Ryan O'Reilly. He is a top center. He's the number one center on St. Louis, and he's had a slow start, no denying it. But this guy, much like Toews, can put the puck in the back of the net and score in bunches and gets assists. He's always a top 10 center. So you could definitely, this guy's struggling just like Toews. You could send an offer over and lock in a potential top 15, 20 center for the end of the season.
Okay.
So if you need center, if you're in a league,
probably be hard to get though, right?
Well, I don't know. I feel like Ryan O'Reilly, he's really struggled. So yeah, I think you could get him. And then my next guy, defenseman Jacob Chychrun. A very slow start, but he's way too talented for that to last. He's, leading the team in ice time. He's on the power play. He's just not getting the puck luck as well. And he's actually started scoring. He got an assist and a goal this week. So he's starting to get some points. So maybe he's going to break out of that slump now. So this would be a definitely chance to buy low on Chychrun before you miss out. He has top 10 defense potential. So
okay, for sure.
Then Jack Hughes, he's on long-term injured reserve. He's due to be back next month. Send an offer over, see if you can get him. If somebody's, wants to just free up an IR guy and they don't want to wait another month, and if you have free spots, send a trade over, get Jack Hughes. He's number one center when he comes back, so.
All right. Yeah.
And then Blake Wheeler, well, this guy's a great player. He's a winger and a center. If you're in a league with positions, he's dual eligible. So, what's wrong?
I said, "Fuck that guy." Is he doing good now? He was such a
Blake Wheeler
pain last year.
Really?
He's on a new team though, right?
No, he's still on the same team. Blake Wheeler. He's on Winnipeg.
Oh, dude, I'm probably mixing up guys.
You think you are, but he's had a super slow start, and he's way too talented. He's going to pick it up. He's a top player.
Okay.
Then moving on, Jeff Petrie. Montreal could turn it around, and everyone starts performing better. So now's the chance to buy low on their top defenseman. So would definitely be sending an offer over to try and get him.
Okay.
And then lastly, Brock Besser. He's too talented of a player. He's going to start scoring anytime, break out of this little slump he's in. He's normally averaging close to 4, in the mid threes, close to 4. He's down, just got below 3 now. And I just feel like he's going to turn around anytime.
Gotcha.
So.
Okay.
And then I got a couple of sell highs here. We'll start with Andrei Svechnikov. He's a top player having a breakout year. Is it sustainable? And I honestly think it is. But just the problem with him is I had Andrei Svechnikov last year, and he just didn't live up to the hype. He was just okay. I was expecting more. And it looks like he's bringing what I thought I was getting last year this year. Okay. So I don't know if you're worried about his consistency. Maybe you could trade him right now while he's at his highest and get like a Mitch Marner or maybe even a Leon Draisaitl. It depends on how ambitious you are. But, if you could swing it for a guy like one of those top guys, that could be a great sell high.
For sure.
And then next, sell high on all of Anaheim, except maybe Troy Terry. Just sell all the old guys and get what you can.
Are you selling Gibson?
I'm not. Well, he's not one of the old guys, so
You said sell all.
Okay, well, all except for Troy Terry and John Gibson.
But I
I
thought you
would
said Gibson
be.
had an injury history, so would you still want to sell high?
Yeah, but no, just because he. I'm talking about like forwards and defensemen here. Let's just say that.
Okay.
So let's just sell high on Ryan Getzlaf. See what you can get. Maybe you can get. Trying to think what other centers are out there. You could just get whatever you wanted for Ryan Getzlaf right now. People would trade you for him.
Okay.
Sell those defensemen, those old guys. Just get more consistent
So
younger
I should
players.
trade Cam Fowler now, even though
You
I
have
traded.
Cam
I
Fowler
already.
too?
Yeah, I picked them both up when they were both hot, like a
Okay.
month ago, and they've still. Well, then I traded Shattenkirk for Travis.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cam Fowler's
I
still
would
been good, dude. I
still
don't.
been good. Maybe just
I
you
should try to
already
get
sold high on one of them. Maybe you just keep one then. Not everybody probably has multiple Anaheim guys, but
Yeah, and I have Troy Terry too.
yeah, definitely to
Picked him
keep
up.
him. They're one of their top
Oh, I know. He's
prospects.
been carrying. Well,
Um,
not. I mean, I have a good team, but he's been like a top, probably my top forward up there with like Pierre Luc Dubois. Dubois.
oh yeah. Yeah. All right, so now
But yeah, no, I'll probably sell on Cam Fowler. I think I agree. I
sell
think
high on those Anaheim guys while you can, because they could have no value here in a month.
should I try to get a defenseman? Yeah, probably.
And then my next guy, Vladislav Nemesnikov. So most likely they're going to have to pick this guy up. He's on our scoop him up list. But you could pick him up and immediately try and trade him. He's on a hot streak. Try and swing him for a more consistent guy if you can.
Okay.
That would be a
Do you
harder
have
one to
him?
do. I don't. He's still on our waiver wire. Or not on the waiver wire, he's just a free agent. So he's
Okay.
available. And then the next guy, Timo Meyer. He's averaging close to 6 in our league right now, which is insane. There's no way that's going to sustain.
Okay. Yeah, that's insane.
He's playing like a freak right now, and he's a really good player. I like him a lot, but what he's doing now isn't sustainable. So there's going to be some regression there. So right now is your chance to swing him for a more consistent guy like that's up in that realm. Maybe you could trade him and get you an Andrei Svechnikov if you want to. Maybe you could do a swap there, and maybe if you feel like Svechnikov will keep it up over Meyer, you could get yourself the top forward
No,
on the
nobody's
best team
gonna.
in the league.
Yeah,
But
Svechnikov's not. I don't think that would go through. But
you could try though. I mean, why it's just send the offer over. You never know.
okay.
But yeah, just swing him for a more consistent guy, or you can just hold him and he'll still be a good player for you, and there'll just be a little regression. He'll still get you points, but now's your chance to trade him for like a top guy. Now's your chance to
Mm-hmm.
use him to get you somebody, like get something crazy. Maybe send him over for David Pasternak.
Okay.
But then my next guy, last sell high, Nate Schmidt. He's historically not a great scorer. He's historically just not a scorer on defense.
Okay.
Right now's your chance to swing him for a more scoring D-man consistently. He's definitely due for some regression, and I feel like now is your window before
Okay.
he falls off a cliff.
Gotcha. All
Is there
right.
anybody you want to add? Anybody you want to add, Jake?
Yeah, well, I kind of hinted at I was thinking about Sorokin or Anderson to get a more more established goalie.
Yeah.
But you said Anderson has done it before, top 5.
Yeah, Anderson. If you were gonna sell, maybe Sorokin, if you don't think it's sustainable for him, if that's how you feel, you could trade him to get you a more consistent goalie. Maybe use him and get you like give him, I don't know. It's just tough because he's doing so good.
Yeah. No, nothing's probably gonna go through. What about? God, I don't even want to trade any of my other guys. I think I'm good. I think my only player that I am still putting up with is Taves. So
Okay. I saw you drop
everyone
Knox,
else,
so.
yeah, everyone else that has not been consistent for over a month, it's like it's not worth it to me. So
Yeah.
I could
No,
put him
that
on my watch list.
yeah, that's a good strategy for sure.
And I think all my guys can keep it up that are at forward. So
Yeah.
yeah, the only sell high I'm definitely doing Fowler, like you said. I feel like nobody would take Burchard. And
Probably not.
I'm probably gonna try to trade high on Taves as well, Devin Taves, not Jonathan.
Okay.
But
I think
yeah, that's about
Devin
it.
Taves is a great sell high from what you're telling me, averaging 5. I mean, that's
Yeah, it's just 3 games though, so I feel like people won't take him seriously. But
yeah, give it a week, see if he stays up there, and then I think you could do it then.
hmm yeah, that's it for me. If you want to get into scoop them up, I'm gonna look at players that you might not have and
Okay.
add to that.
So now we're gonna move on to scoop them up.
Oh my god.
So based on what I was looking at earlier today, all the information, I just feel like one of my top scoops for this week, definitely Logan O'Connor. Just got to get a little bit of the Irish in there.
Oh my god.
But with Nathan McKinnon out, he's been bumped up now and he's scoring. So just, pick him up, see how long that hot streak lasts. McKinnon's going to be out multiple weeks. So this guy, if he keeps scoring, has potential to be top 6 on a power play for almost a month. So it could get you some good scoring on one of the best teams in the league. One of the best power plays, especially. It's a no-brainer to me.
Okay.
So just, one of the top Irish players.
Oh my god.
Next we'll move on. One of my other guys, I'm really high on this guy, at least for the time being. He's more of a streaming option in my eyes. You could drop him at some point, but right now, Nils Hoglander on Vancouver, he's playing on the top line. He's on the second power play, and he's started consistently multiple games of scoring. So I don't know, just pick him up while he's hot. Could just be a hot streak, and then you can drop him. But he's doing really good right now on a pretty good power play as well. And then
Sure.
just go check on this guy. He's been getting dropped. He's at 64% owned now. So in a third of leagues, he's out there available on the waiver wire. And our 12-team league is one of them. Colton Parayko, the defenseman on St. Louis, he's one of their top D-men. And just, go get him. He plays a ton. He gets a ton of ice time. He's on the power play. St. Louis has been struggling as a team. He's been dropped. I'd pick him up. I'd pick him up.
Who dropped him? You dropped him?
No, I didn't. I don't know who had him. I just saw him on the waiver wire, and I was surprised.
Gotcha.
I'm thinking about using my second waiver spot to get him.
Waiver?
Yeah.
Nice.
And then next on Scoop Him Up, we talked about him in Sell High. Vladislav Nemesnikov, he's on a hot streak for Detroit. A good young team looking like this year. He's in a scoring role. The problem with him, he's never been a consistent guy. He always had a lot of talent, but he's never been able to put it all together. But he's getting some goals.
Mm-hmm.
It's you can't ignore it when he's scoring. A guy's scoring like that.
Getting some goals there, guy.
Could at least be a streamer. Get you some points for a week. And then next, Ryan Graves. He's 26% owned. He's a really good player. If in a banger league, if you get hits and blocks points, this guy should be owned in those settings. So just wait for the injury news to drop, see what's going on, if he's going to miss a lot of time, and go scoop him up. And then Jesper Bratt, young player on New Jersey. We mentioned him last week as a streamer or as a watch list guy, and I said just give him a week, see if he's still scoring, and then scoop him up next week. And that is what happened. He's been scoring this whole week, so now he's definitely worth a scoop.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly for me at least, Evgeny Dadonov. He's been bumped up in ice time with all the injuries that Vegas is getting. He's consistently scoring this week, and he could be a quick drop, but he's on a hot streak right now, and you can't deny it. So, who doesn't like points?
Yeah, for sure.
So, if you have anybody else to add, Jake?
Just one main guy because everyone else looks pretty mediocre. Ryan Hartman on Minnesota.
Yeah, I saw him, and I feel like that's not even worth mentioning because I just don't see any way that that's sustainable. Because he's not on a power play.
Yeah,
and
but
he's
it's
on the
a
third line.
It's a scoop though, right? Because
Could be a streamer, but you could be dropping him by Wednesday. But
yeah, I mean he's been hot for like 2 weeks.
Just the only problem
I feel like it's not falling off.
He scored a lot of points. The problem is he's not on a power play, and he's on the third line. So I just don't see a lot of sustainability there. He had a good week, and that might be it might be over now.
2 weeks,
but you could scoop him up, and he'd just be a quick drop. He's definitely a streamer. I don't feel like he's a hold, but I mean, can't deny that he's been scoring. So
yeah,
could be worth a scoop.
Yeah, last 15 his average is 4.6. So
that's insane.
Just ride him while he's hot.
Yeah, just ride him while he's hot. That's a good point.
All right, that's it for me. Yeah.
Okay, so now we'll move on to best and worst schedules. So we got the best schedules here. All the teams with 4 games. We got the Arizona Coyotes, got the Calgary Flames, got the Detroit Red Wings, the Minnesota Wild, the New York Islanders and Rangers, Tampa Bay Lightning, Toronto Maple Leafs, and Washington Capitals. All those teams have 4 games, so definitely be looking at some of those backup goalies on those good teams, like the Islanders, on the Rangers, Tampa, Toronto, and Washington. Those backup goalies could be worth a spot start this week to get you some more points. And then teams that have 3 games with an easy schedule: Columbus, Chicago, Nashville, Pittsburgh, St. Louis, and Vancouver. Those teams have 3 games with an easy schedule, so you could be pretty safe about picking up one of those backup goalies to get you a spot start as well. Okay. And then, so moving on to some streaming options with the schedules. Thomas Greiss, the backup goalie on Detroit, he's going to get a start or 2. They have 2 back-to-backs. All these guys have 2 back-to-backs, so they're probably going to get 2 starts most likely. Semyon Varlamov, backup right now on the Islanders. He'll get a start or 2. Alexander Georgiev, backup goalie on the Rangers. Peter Mrazek, backup goalie on Toronto. Ilya Samsonov, the backup goalie on Washington. And then Kevin Lankinen, backup goalie on Chicago. And then Jonas Korpisalo, backup goalie on Columbus. Those are some goalies to definitely pick up to get you some points for some streams.
All right, for sure. Well, like Samsonov's not owned.
What's that?
You're thinking like you put Samsonov, like people don't have him, I guess.
No, all these guys are not very high owned because they're backups.
Oh, I'm mixing guys up again. Jesus. Okay. I just thought Ilya wasn't a common name, but Jesus, we're in hockey, so my bad.
Yeah, you're thinking of Sorokin, right?
Yeah, dude.
No, yeah, I don't have him on a streaming option. My God.
Okay. No, I'm who the hell? Ilya, where's this from? What is this name?
What is that? Like Finland?
Okay.
Over in that area, like you're just, Central European, Northern European.
Okay.
But then we move on to the worst schedules. 3 teams with 2 games this week: Anaheim, Boston, Colorado. So that kind of sucks if you have any guys from those teams. And then 3 games with a hard schedule. 3 teams in that category. We got San Jose, Vegas, and Winnipeg have the toughest schedules of the week. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I think if you have anything else to add, I think that's curtains.
Yeah, that's curtains for me, man. We went over a lot of good stuff, so.
Yeah. Well, thanks everybody for listening for another week, and we are happy you entered the garden today, and just keep tuning in every week, and hopefully we're helping you build winning teams.
Yeah, no, I know we are. If we got the listeners, but we're still building.
Still building. So with that
Yeah.
in mind, we're go follow us on all our social medias. We have a Twitter up and running now, twitter.com/GOSpod21. And then we're on Facebook and Instagram as well. You can just type in Garden of Sports on Facebook and Instagram and go find us. And then we're working on getting our Discord out there and start joining our Discord. We're trying to form a nice little community over here, and we're happy to keep answering all your questions and help you guys build your winning teams. And I want to see all those championship trophies at the end of the season. So,
Hell yeah, man.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.